Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the regular meeting of the Board of Trustees for the Spring Independent School District. It is now officially called to order on Tuesday, August 8th, 2023, and the time is now 7:03 p.m. Board of Trustees present are Trustee Adams, Trustee Correa, Trustee Newhouse, Trustee Hodges, Trustee Durant, Trustee Jensen, and Trustee McDaniel. Just want to make sure y'all are on your toes. I would like to ask everyone to please turn off and silence any of your electronic devices. At this time, the board's vice president and board equity committee lead, Winfred Adams Jr., will begin the meeting by reading the Spring ISD equity statement.
Thank you, Madam President. Spring Independent School District strongly believes in educational and racial equity as fundamental aspects of its core mission and purpose, embodied through any program, practice, decision, or action that affects all students, with a strategic focus on those choices and policies that most strongly impact marginalized students. We believe all students, regardless of their ability, ethnicity, language, race, religion, gender identity, and status, should have equitable access to opportunities, resources, support systems, and educational rigor in order to maximize their academic success and social emotional well-being. We believe every Spring Independent School District student is valuable and possesses individual strengths and characteristics that make our district a great place to learn and grow. Moreover, we seek to act on that belief, instituting policies and practices that value diversity, committing ourselves as a district to continued growth and development, and working to support the success of every student in all that we do.
Thank you, Trustee Adams. Tonight's presentation of colors will be led by the Dekaney Wildcat JROTC Battalion. The Color Guard commander carrying the U.S. flag is Cadet Lieutenant Commander Daisy Alcacer. Carrying the Texas flag, Cadet Master Chief Gabriela Lopez. The left rifle is Cadet Petty Officer 2nd Class Christopher Zatino. Right rifle is Cadet Petty Officer 3rd Ashley Vasquez. The Dekaney Wildcat Battalion is led by Chief Petty Officer Victor Adams and Chief Petty Officer Robert Dunn. So at this time, if everyone will please rise for the posting of the colors.
Attention! Carry! Color! Ready! Cut! Forward! March! Hard time! March! Color guard! Halt! Come to march! March! Color guard! Halt! Present! Colors!
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Carry! Colors! Outboard! Base! Forward! March! Color guard! Halt! Coast! Colors! Hand! Salute! Ready! Two! Inboard! Base! Color guard! Halt!
If everyone could remain standing at this time, I'd ask everyone to quietly observe in your own way a moment of silence. Thank you. You may be seated. Our next item on tonight's agenda is our superintendent remarks, and I'll now turn it over to our super proud superintendent, Dr. Lapita Hinojosa.
Thank you, President Durant, members of the board, our guests that are here present, and those that are watching us online. It's Tuesday and it feels like we've had an entire week. Yesterday, I want to share, just the incredible day that we had yesterday celebrating our 2023 convocation with all 5,200 plus staff members at Fallbrook Church. Our theme for this school year, the power of you. And I can say without a doubt that we had a powerful experience. And I believe that we have set the stage for an unstoppable school year. I have to say today, Dr. Parasol, Dr. Cuellar, Mr. Strubart, myself, we visited many of our locations where teachers were doing training. And then we had our chief of HR, Dr. King, Ms. Miranda, joined us with our child nutrition staff members where they were having their annual luncheon. We had Dr. Jensen and Ms. Newhouse that helped us serve. And I'll tell you, every single location we went to, I think everyone was motivated and they all knew that it was going to be an unstoppable year. It was very exciting to be able to have shared today with all of our staff after convocation yesterday. And I also want to do just a very special thanks to Fallbrook Church, Pastor O and Pastor Pender. They so graciously opened their church for an entire day where we had 3 sessions for our convocation, and we were just treated so nicely, and we're just so grateful. At year after year, Fallbrook Church continues to be one of our closest partners and most giving of their location, but most importantly, their commitment and support of Spring ISD. I also want to thank all of our board members. They were all out there, and I think they really enjoyed it. I saw some dancing and some moves I hadn't seen before, because it is a time for all of us to celebrate. And, every department was out there, every school was out there, and I have to tell you, our board showed up strong and showed us the moves we hadn't seen before when it was their turn to showcase their roll call. And I also want to absolutely, once again, recognize Robertson Middle School and their amazing STEP team. I had people come and say, are those high school students or college students you're bringing back? And it's like, no, they're middle school students. And I'll tell you, they can compete at any level, even with college students. Their precision, they were amazing. So I want to thank them. And I also want to thank all the people that worked behind the scenes to get this all organized. Our FACE department, our Family and Community Engagement team, our communications team, our bus drivers, transportation, they were amazing at getting all of our employees to this location. Just everyone. Our police department got there at 6 o'clock in the morning to make sure that we were ready, and they stayed till 6 o'clock when the last car left. Just everyone, thank you so very much. And I have to say, now that talking about buses rolling, you all know our first day of school is Thursday. So it's coming. Our bus drivers are getting ready. They've been, running all their routes. They're ready to go. Of course, our police department is ready, but most importantly, our teachers. Our teachers and principals have been working really hard, not only to catch up in their professional development, to prepare for our students, but most importantly, getting their buildings ready. I can tell you, they're still in their buildings late in the evenings to make sure that they're ready to go. And on Thursday, we will be visiting campuses all day. And so it's just an exciting time for us to welcome our students back. And, just excited to be able to share this day. And then last but not least, I do want to do another shout out for our summer graduation. Every year, we celebrate in June over 2,000 graduates, and it's amazing to see their accomplishments, their successes. But I think I can speak for the board and all of us, summer graduation is extra special because it's a group of students that have really oftentimes had to overcome challenges, but their determination, they didn't give up. And so we had families out there that joined us to celebrate our graduates that finished out and are ready to enter their own future, whether they're going into the military, to college, or into the workforce. These young people are ready to get their future coming and entering that. So just I want to ask everyone your support for Thursday. It will be the first day of school. I'm asking for everyone to give our teachers, our administrators, our bus drivers just a little extra grace because oftentimes we forget what school car ride or lines look like and what drop-off lines look like. And I know you're antsy to get your students into the classes. So just a little bit of grace as we get back into the routine. But I know that all of our schools are ready to welcome our students for the 2023-2024 school year. Ms. Durant, that concludes my comments. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Hinojosa. At this time, I'd like to invite any of my colleagues on the board if they have any additional remarks they'd like to make.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Hinojosa. We enjoyed all those activities, truly. It was a pleasure seeing our faculty, the staff, and all the workers at the convocation. Mm-hmm. But I'd like to give a shout out to our Chief of Police. Mm-hmm. Chief Rodriguez is new for us. And when I went into the convocation, Chief, you may not know it, but when I went in, for the first time, I got a chance to see many Houston police officers working with our officers. Mm-hmm. Usually I see Spring ISD officers out there. I had never seen so many Houston police officers. So I thought that was a great partnership for our community to see that we are partnering with Houston police officers. So thank you, Chief, for that. That was very nice to see. Thank you. Mm-hmm.
I wanted to, I just left Westfield. I have a senior graduating this year. So I was just at the senior orientation. And I wanted to talk about something that you mentioned in the convocation speech, which is experience, because I experienced this district both as a board member and as a parent. And I want to emphasize for everybody watching and for all of our staff that is out there in Springland that we have to continue to provide that high quality experience and demonstrate kindness to everyone, grace to everyone. Our kids need to see us doing that for each other. And so the part where you talked about the experience and the way our families and our community and our students and our staff experience our work, I just really appreciated that. And I'm going to make it my mission to make sure that I, in every interaction I have, provide a good experience for people that I interact with.
I just round us out and follow up on what Dr. H said. I've been seeing all the tweets of all the hard work that teachers and staff have been doing over the summer to do your professional development and prepare for the school year. So just want to wish you a prosperous and unstoppable school year, and just know that we are behind you 100%.
Thank you. It's really exciting, and we've actually really hit the ground running. So far this year, we had my first safety committee was Chief Rodrigue, and I want to thank him for such an excellent job and the plan we have in place to continue to secure and make sure our kids are safe on all of our campuses and within all of our buildings, kids and staff. So great job on that. Then we had our work session, followed by all day Saturday. We had team building and a workshop with the senior leadership team where we had to do some exercises together and do some planning. All day Saturday, then we spent all day together Monday in convocation, and here we are again here tonight. So we've actually been together probably almost every day the last week. So we've kind of hit the ground running as all the staff is getting ready, for our kids coming back on Thursday. So I just want to tell everyone to stay prayed up, support one another. And I think to kind of sum up when we talk about experience, the golden rule, we just need to treat people the way we want to be treated, and that will help us be successful. So thank you, everyone. We'll now continue with tonight's agenda. Our next item is recognition. So at this time, I'd like to ask the board and Dr. Hinojosa to join me in her horseshoe up front.
Our first recognition is a point of pride and will be introduced by Ms. Cynthia Williams, our Director of Career and Technical Education.
Good evening, President Durant, Dr. Hinojosa, members of the board. I'm Cynthia Williams, CTE Director here in Spring ISD. Tonight, I would like to tell you about two students from Wenchie who attended the National Skills USA Leadership and Skills Conference in Atlanta this summer. Seniors John Paul and Carl are both members of Wenchie Coding Initiative. This initiative was founded to empower students to study and learn about computer programming, coding, and website development. We want to recognize and congratulate John Paul and Carl for winning first place gold in the Web Design and Development National Skills USA competition. Please come forward.
I want to shake your hand and say congratulations. We are so very proud of you. Not only did they win the national one, they went on to win the international.
It was national. They had started state and then they went on to win national competitions. First place gold.
National. So they won
Yes.
both of them. So I'm trying to say. They won them both. First place.
Yes. We also want to recognize and say a very special thank you to the teacher and CTSO sponsor, Ms. Carolyn Gerke. Ms. Gerke? Last year was her first year as a teacher, and she sponsored these students and took them on to nationals. And We also have Dr. James Ritchie, Principal. And if we have any parents of John Paul and Carl, would you please stand and be recognized?
And just the board would like an opportunity to congratulate you. We are so very proud of their hard work.
And we have Mr. Garricky, who is the brother of Carolyn, and he helped chaperone the students as well. So thank you.
And we continue to get recognized, not just on the state level, but nationally. It's so awesome.
Okay.
So after the photo, I'd like to invite both of our seniors. We gotta let Dad get that photo. If they want to tell us where they're going, what they plan to do, if you all want to make any comments.
Good evening, everyone. Like Jared said, my name is Carl Amondi. I'm a rising senior at Carl Wunsch Senior High School. And as far as my future plans, obviously from this award and all the involvement that I've been doing as far as the Wunsch Coding Initiative and all the competitions that we've been doing, I'm really interested in computers, and so hence that's what I'm going to be pursuing as far as my college journey in the future. So in the future, I want to get a Bachelor's of Science and Arts in Computer Science and Philosophy, and then from then on go on to either be a full stack web developer or a software engineer at any big tech company, and therefore innovate with my skills and use it to actually make a difference in the world. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm also a rising senior at Carl Wunsch Senior High School. I'm very involved with the computer science, with the code initiative, and then also with entrepreneurship, which we competed in the past year for skills. We've made it to state level. When it comes to what I want to do in college, I'm interested in computer science and also going into business. After I get out of college, I'm interested in starting my own computer science development business. So we'll make websites and different software applications for people like that. Thank you.
All right, everybody ready?
One more. One more.
There we go. That one. There you go. All right. There you go. 1, 2, and 3. All
We're looking forward to seeing what you do next, so stay in touch.
Okay, on to the second one. President Durant, esteemed members of the board and superintendents, it is with great pride that we are recognizing one of our very special student-centered programs. We actually got to hear a great presentation on our 21st Century program last spring, and I'm really incredibly excited to call up our program director, Ms. Carla Jones-Wiley, who's going to share the great news and the recognition of our wonderful, terrific 21st Century program. So without further ado.
Thank you very much. Good evening. President Durant, Dr. Hinojosa, and esteemed trustees and honored guests. I am here today to bring you greetings on behalf of the 21st CCLC program and to inform you that we have been highlighted by the U.S. Department of Education for our processes and procedures. We attribute our success to a collaborative culture that puts the needs of our students and their families first to promote equitable outcomes for all. We consistently perform at the highest level, optimizing on all quality assurance process indicators. We have hosted the annual project directors meeting for the state of Texas and provided site visits so that the entire field could come and see our program operations in action. We were one of only 2 sites in the state of Texas selected to provide feedback on the Texas After School Centers on Education program to the Department of Education in 2021. The interview facilitator said, and I quote, "I am inspired by what is happening in Spring ISD." Additionally, our team has presented at the state level at the Out of School Time Initiative Conference on how to implement high-impact tutoring and high-quality instructional materials. We also presented on comparative data analysis. We have provided consistent leadership. This year is my 4th consecutive year as a resource in Texas ACE program for large urban districts. During the pandemic, our Spring ISD team showed more than 500 other 21st CCLC program leaders and staff across the state of Texas how to convert site-based programming to engaging interactive virtual programming. This year, we were recognized by the U.S. Department of Education at its summer symposium. We are presenting to the Texas After School Educators on Education leaders, to our education leaders tomorrow during our family engagement best practices that will be led by our esteemed Mr. Antonio Tolliver, our right-hand family engagement specialist. Spring ISD could not have accomplished any of this without the committed and dedicated members of our team. Please join me in recognizing our administrative assistant, Alma Villagrana, Mr. Antonio Tolliver, family engagement specialist. Please stand. Site coordinator, China Crowder. Site coordinator, Marcus Jones. Site coordinator, Sharon Hancock. Site coordinator, Joshua Hall. Site coordinator, Rashonda Phillips. Site coordinator, Shaterica Washington. Site coordinator, Peter Burnett. And site coordinator, Ellen Harris. And last but certainly not least, the one and only, Miss Shalonda McGinnis. She is our creative. Well, congratulations. Thank you. You guys want to come on up so the board can congratulate you all. Thank you. We really appreciate our 21st century program. Thank you. It gives our kids that extra help and support that they need to be successful. Thank you. Thank you. Go right on. Congratulations. Great work.
So do any of you have any family here you'd like to recognize? I don't know if they can hear me.
Okay. Okay. Can I get one on somebody? Yeah. Yeah. All right. All right. Can everybody see me? All right. Here you go. Ready? 1, 2, and 3. Got it.
Our next point of pride will be introduced by Dr. Joe Clark, our Director of Performing and Visual Arts.
Thank you. Madam President, good evening, Madam President, Dr. Hinojosa, members of the board. Very nice to see you. Next up, we move on to a staff recognition for one of our tireless performing and visual arts directors, Spring High School Director of Theater, Miss Marilyn Acker. If she can join me up here. She has a lot of fans in the audience too. Over the summer, Ms. Acker officially received the National Speech and Debate Association's first Diamond Award for Coaching Excellence. Since 1925, the National Speech and Debate Association has been recognizing student and coaching achievements in speech and debate. The Diamond Award for Coaching Excellence is one of the highest honors a coach can receive as part of the association's recognition program. To earn the award, a coach must be a member of the National Speech and Debate Association for at least 5 years and attain 15,000 points. And these points are hard. So it's you get like 1 point at a time. I don't want you to say you get like 100 here and 100 here. You get one at a time. So over 15,000. So participation in speech and debate can have a life-changing benefit for all of our young people, and dedicated faculty coaches like Ms. Acker has put in a lot of time and hard work, both inside and outside the regular school day. And she would say more outside than in, to help their students prepare for and be successful. Ms. Acker is a longtime speech and debate coach who has had multiple students receive the National Speech and Debate Association's Academic All-American Award, including Spring High School class of 2023 top 10 graduate, Alaya Nora, who was recognized during, if you guys remember, during the May board meeting for accomplishments. Day to day on the Spring High School campus, Ms. Acker is usually hard at work making sure her speech and debate and theater students, she has that job too, speech, debate, and theater. Students enjoy the spotlight they deserve, but this evening it is our pleasure to highlight her leadership of this program and to express our gratitude for all that she does on behalf of her students. Now, I will tell you, while she was out in Phoenix, Arizona, she was winning all these awards, nationally here. And she texted me and she said, "I am tired. Can I please come home?" And I texted her back and I said, "No, I need you to go win a couple more awards and you can come back." And she did win a couple more awards, and then she came back. So we are very excited to recognize her. We have a lot of theater teachers here tonight too in speech and debate that are here in support. So please help me thank Miss Marilyn Acker. Yeah, and obviously this does not happen with incredible campus leadership also, and so the Spring High School principal is here also, Mr. Jalen Hemphill. We recognize him in the back. You just asked a speech and debate coach to make comments.
You're in trouble now. I would just like to take a moment to thank you all, and more importantly, to thank Spring ISD. I came to Spring ISD and I really feel like you saved me. I was a struggling teacher of 24 years, really not having found my purpose, lost my purpose, I came here, and the wonderful people of Spring ISD and the amazing students have filled my cup and keep me wanting to do more for these kids. So thank you all for giving me the opportunity to work with the students here and for working with you all. I love the fact that I'm here and I'm supported, and I've never felt this way before in any educational experience I've had, and this is year 34 for me. So
That's perfect. That's good. Yeah, that was good. Yeah.
and of course, you know, I would be not in the right place if I didn't plug my show this year. We're doing Seussical the musical for our babies. Kevin Hannah, Suze, y'all come see it October. We're doing our elementary school tour. Yes, and babies will love it.
And can we have all the teachers stand that came to support Miss Ocker? Big, everybody that came to support Miss Ocker. Big round of applause. Thank you guys for being here.
Ready? 1, 2, and 3. Got it.
We do have one more. Thank you, Board President. So last but not least this evening, we have a point of pride for one of our extraordinary central office employees, Gary Hutton, Spring ISD General Manager of Operations, who was recently named the Southern Region Planner of the Year by the Association for Learning Environments, A4LE. Gary, could you please join me? The Association for Learning Environments, first established in 1921 as the National Council on Schoolhouse Construction, is a worldwide professional association whose core purpose is to strengthen learning for all through better learning environments. Its active membership is made up of nearly every discipline involved in school planning, construction, and maintenance. The organization has chapters throughout the United States, as well as in more than 30 other countries in Europe and across Australasia. The Planner of the Year Award recognizes an individual who has demonstrated dedication, professional excellence, and a commitment to growth and overall success of both their region and the industry as a whole. The A4LE Southern Region, which contains all of Arkansas, Louisiana, Oklahoma, and Texas, awards only one Planner of the Year designation annually. Gary was nominated by his peers in the industry, followed by a committee review of his body of work, personal accomplishments, and contributions. As a side note, we recently learned that Gary's also been nominated or been awarded the Global Director. He's now the Global Director for the Southern Region as well. Gary has been an invaluable member of the Spring ISD team, and in addition to his many day-to-day contributions, he's also a big, huge part of both of our bond programs. From the bond's inception and development to supporting the bond steering committee to his ongoing work in bringing the vision to reality, Gary has been there every step of the way. Spring ISD is extremely fortunate to have someone of his talents and skills as General Manager of Operations, and it's an honor to be able to congratulate him this evening on this well-deserved Planner of the Year award. And there's an example of the plaque that circulates. Sorry.
Unfortunately, my children-in-law can't be here tonight. They are all preparing for school starting tomorrow, so they couldn't be here. But I am very blessed that my office family have shown up in mass. Birthday tonight, so she's here and should have been home, but I can't convince them to leave. But yes, my team does everything, and I just thank you.
We'll go ahead and take a quick 5-minute break.
Test 1, 2.
Thank you, everyone. So our next item is agenda participation. This item allows members of the public an opportunity to speak on agenda topics before those items are considered by the board. Mr. Binkley, do we have anyone signed up this evening for agenda participation?
Yes, Madam President, we have one speaker signed up tonight. Before I invite our speaker to the podium, I do have a short paragraph that I need to read. The board invites interested citizens to address the board regarding any item on tonight's agenda that they desire, other than allegations concerning the character or capability of any board member, staff member, citizen, or student of the district. The board will listen and will not interrupt unless the person addressing the board infringes on the guidelines as stated previously or exceeds the time limit authorized for the presentation. In In this case, each of you will have 3 minutes to present. Mr. Sheffer will keep time, which will be displayed on the monitors. The board will not debate nor respond to any question during agenda participation. The board will seriously consider your input when addressing the items on tonight's agenda. Also, according to law, it is a criminal offense for a person to obstruct, prevent, interfere with, or disrupt a lawfully called meeting through physical action or verbal utterance. Citizens are requested to supplement any oral address to the board with a written summary of their presentation and any recommendations they may wish to suggest. Thank you for your concern regarding our school district, and we will hear you now. So our speaker tonight is Bobby Fuller to speak regarding agenda items 11.17 and 11.18. Mr. Fuller, you may come to the podium. And if you look where it says press to talk, if you press that button,
Thank you. Good evening. Thank you for giving me a few minutes here. Name again, Bobby Fuller. And just on the consent agenda, I noticed a few things. But 11.17 and 11.18 talks about a lot of money for the architectural professional services. And 15 million is a lot of money. And it seems like that's for the EPIC Center. EPIC, I understand, is Education, Performance, and Instruction Center. Am I correct in assuming that? Yes?
they can't answer the question.
Oh, you can't answer?
They can't answer your questions, no, sir.
Oh. Well, my concern is $15 million is a lot of money for architectural professional services, and I don't understand why there's not transparency as far as what this money, for what is the architectural professional services? Does that include the construction of this center or not? You know, it doesn't say that in the bullet points, and so, you know, just some clarification would be nice. That's all. But you can't answer, huh? You're not allowed to talk back?
Thank you, Mr. Fuller. As part of the Open Meetings Act, we can only respond to stuff that was posted 72 hours in advance. So that's why we can't respond by law. But I'm sure someone from administration will be happy to speak with you.
Madam President, we have no other speakers tonight on agenda participation.
Thank you. Our next item is public participation. Mr. Binkley, do we have anyone signed up for public participation?
Yes, Madam President, we have 3 speakers tonight. Again, before I invite our speakers to the podium, I will read a short paragraph. The board invites interested citizens to address the board on any subject that they desire other than allegations concerning the character or capability of any board member, staff member, citizen, or student of the district. The board provides an opportunity on the agenda for citizens to address the board, and we welcome your participation. The board will listen and will not interrupt unless the person addressing the board infringes on the guidelines as stated previously or exceeds the time limit authorized for the presentation. In this case, each of you will have 3 minutes to present. Mr. Sheffer will keep time, which will be displayed on the monitors. According to law, the board may not take any action on any item that is not on the agenda. The board will not debate nor respond to any question during the meeting in order to research the question thoroughly before replying. The board will seriously consider the matter brought to its attention and respond appropriately. Also, according to law, it is a criminal offense for a person to obstruct, prevent, interfere with, or disrupt a lawfully called meeting through physical action or verbal utterance. Citizens are requested to supplement any oral address to the board with a written summary of their presentation and any recommendations they may wish to suggest. Thank you for your concern regarding our school district, and we will hear you now. Our first speaker tonight is Yolanda Berryhill regarding transportation. Ms. Berryhill?
Thank you.
Whenever you're ready.
Okay. First off, I want to give reference to God for allowing me to come and speak for the children today. I want to thank y'all for allowing me to come as well. I am a very emotional person right now at this point because I'm speaking on regards to our children at the ages of 4 to 10 years old. Eikenroe Elementary had built a 12-foot fence surrounding the back gate, which we do not have any opposed to that. We are very grateful for that, for the security of our children purposes. But they also blocked off entrance and exit gates where our children used to come in and out of. We are requesting that y'all please just open up a gate or a little entrance where they can proceed to go in and out due to the fact that they have no sidewalk. It's about a 2-mile walk back and forth to school from Village Springs. And there is another apartment complex that's right next to us that they did the same thing to. I do have a petition that a lot of parents did sign. I would like to give that to y'all if that's okay. Also, they came a week before school has started. They told us what was going on and we needed to find some means of transportation for our children. Being that these apartments are tax credit apartments and low income of minorities mainly, I'm asking if y'all could please provide some type of transportation of a safe form, being as a bus or anything like a sidewalk, cross guards. But this stretch for these children to make it to school, and being that there are parents that have disabilities, single parents, that's why they are low income. It's really hard for parents that are working. They have their teenagers to try to take care of the kids. And for the teenagers to have to get out of Bama Middle School and Westfield High School and try to have to walk all the way around to go get their brothers and sisters and come back home is going to be a burden on them. And not only just them, but the 4 to 10-year-olds. Not only that, they're putting them at risk of being shot because they have to walk in front of 2 stores that is really bad because they have drug activity, gang infestation, and as well as a lady was shot at the bus stop that was pregnant. A month ago, it was a couple of gentlemen that were killed that were at the pump of the gas station as well. They came from Westfield High School. I'm asking if you please provide some type of form of transportation. There is 4 apartment complexes that I know of that need help with their children getting back and forth to school. We would greatly appreciate that. And I would like to submit the petition whenever y'all would like. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Berryhill. And if you can submit that to our chief legal counsel right there, Mr. Binkley.
Thank you. Our next speaker tonight is Bambi Kraus to speak regarding HB 900.
Hi, my name is Bambi. Thank you for having me. I think I'm going to read what I'd like to talk to tonight so that I don't forget anything. Surely your legal department has already brought you up to speed on this, but just in case, I want to discuss Texas State House Bill 900 that was approved in June of 2023 for all schools in our state. HB 900 is a law that the school district must comply with now, the 23-24 school year, and going forward. This law concerns library standards in our school libraries, mandating that our schools must take action to remove sexually explicit materials from our school libraries. The law was passed because it isn't talking about reading and audio materials or study materials that address love stories. This law was passed because the material to be taken out of schools is showing and graphically depicting sexual acts, showing sexual body parts, and some even depicting sexual arousal. Representative Patterson, who sponsored the bill, said, and I quote, "Concerned parents brought books to me that were so radically explicit in nature that, again, you couldn't show it on TV or read it on the radio because of FCC guidelines, yet it's in the children's libraries at schools," end quote. The law states in section 33021, library standards, in this section, sexually explicit material means any communication, language, or material, including a written description, photographic image, video image, or audio file. So I'd like you, surely you know about it, I'd like you to look into it. I've checked with Conroe ISD. I've read a lot of posts online. There are a lot of sexually explicit, unacceptable books in our libraries that our school districts aren't even aware of. Teachers haven't been in the libraries to read them. I have a list of 56 books that your neighboring Conroe ISD has already removed from their libraries. I've brought it if you'd like to start there. I'd like to know, have you begun the process of removing these type books and audio files? And would you be posting a list for the parents in the school district to know which books you will be removing? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our last speaker tonight is Bobby Fuller to speak regarding the purchase of land. Mr. Fuller, you may approach the podium now. Oh, you just turned it off.
Hello again. Thank you for letting me address you, and I appreciate all the work that each of you do. So online, I was looking at the August 3rd board work session just a few days ago, and it talks about considering purchase of 184 acres south of Riley Fuzzle and east of Hardy Toll Road. And so there was no mention of what the purchase of this land was for. And so I'm simply wondering, you know, what is a reason for purchasing 184 acres? And is this location in Harris County or Montgomery County? And so, you know, if y'all could just post an answer online, that'd be great. You know, you can, a lot of people read online, you can put some, be transparent and put it online what you're looking at purchasing land for. If it may be there, if it is, I didn't see it, but I looked for it. But anyhow, I thought it was unusual, or a lot of land, 184 acres, without saying what it was going to be used for. So thank you.
Thank you.
We have no other speakers tonight, Madam President.
Thank you, Mr. Binkley. For our next item this evening, I'd like to recognize our Chief Financial Officer, Ann Westbrooks.
Good evening, President Durant, Dr. Hinojosa, and members of the board. This evening, we have two items which begin on page 20. The first item is something that we did not discuss on Thursday evening, but it's two waivers that we would like to have in place before the start of the school year, which is, of course, as Dr. Hinojosa mentioned, this Thursday. So there's two waivers. The first one is a modified schedule during state testing. And so what this waiver would allow the district to do is on state testing days, those students that are not taken the state test, for example, seniors that are done with all of their EOCs, they could come to school at a later time and not disrupt the testing that's happening on the campus, but also still allow the district to generate state funding for those students. So that's the first waiver. The second waiver is a remote homebound instruction waiver that would be for our students that are special education students that for various reasons that are identified in their ARD process would have the ability to receive their instruction remotely, and the district would still be able to take attendance for those students and again generate funding for those students as well. So both of these waivers would give the district the opportunity to take advantage of those waivers if those circumstances present themselves, and a plan and processes in place to maximize those waivers that are made available to the school district.
I have a question for the, you mentioned high school for the testing waiver. Would that be the same for elementary? So like third and fourth grade is testing, K through 2 wouldn't come to school?
No, I wouldn't see that as an example for us, more so with the high school students, because with elementary, typically, we're only testing the higher grades. And so the resources for the teachers in the lower grades are with all the students there. I think this is more so secondary, particularly high school.
So that's the intent that we have. We can select how we
can select how we
utilize it.
handle.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
And we would definitely have to put a process and a plan in place on how we would utilize that waiver.
The remote homebound instruction. Hi. The remote homebound waiver, we do that every year, don't we?
The remote homebound?
Yes.
We do homebound waivers every year. I believe this is the first in a long time that we've done a remote homebound waiver.
Okay.
Yes.
One more question for the testing. So thinking about high school, I'm wondering the likelihood, if I'm a student and I don't have to test, am I really coming at 10:30 or am I just gonna skip?
That's absolutely correct for our high school students, but that's part of having that process and that procedure in place, because we would have to incentivize our students to come to school that day and make sure that there's, something that's drawing them to school at that later time of the day. And we could work with our school leadership, our academics office, to make that something that the students see worth their while to coming in a little bit later.
Thank you. And Ms. McDaniel, we may not even use this waiver. We haven't used this particular waiver here in spring since I've been here. However, it is an option that we have. And as we discussed it, as the team discussed it, is we want to go ahead and submit this waiver to the state and then work with our high schools. And if they can come up with a very tight plan, transportation would need to be provided. It is for our high school teachers and our high school administrators in general, they see it as really necessary because we have so many students at a high school that are not testing that it takes everyone away to supervise them while we're trying to supervise small group instruction. And so this would allow the non-testers to come in later in the day once the test, normally the high school EOC tests are 2, maybe 4 hours long. And so this would allow us the opportunity to focus all of our staff on the classes that are testing and then go back, send buses back to pick up the students that are non-testers. And so they can still get attendance credit while allowing the schools the opportunity to concentrate on the testers and then be able to welcome everyone else in. However, the big risk is exactly what you're saying, is that a high school student may say, well, oops, I don't want to come in after all. And so we did challenge Dr. Cuellar and the high school, if they can earn this way, show us that their attendance is tight, that their kids are going to come back, we will allow them to use this waiver. The important piece we're asking the board is to allow us to approve this waiver so we can submit it to the state, and if needed, and if our high schools can come with the tight plan and our kids show up, that we would implement it. But you're right. Those are a lot of the cons that we have looked at, and we haven't implemented it in, I'm going to say, at least 8 years, just because of that, because it gives the students another way out. But our teachers are really asking that we give it a try and let them, prove to us that they can still come to school. I know Ms. Newhouse is smiling because this is something that we've struggled with in our high schools for so many years.
Yes, Ms. McDaniels, this is a very popular waiver and activity. Many other districts do this. The quietness and the extra help in teachers that it provides, the testing environment in a school, really is an asset for the test takers, the test givers, the administration in setting up the tests. Those students who can't come in late for some reason, for transportation, generally they will have a place in the cafeteria for them. Yes, come on in at 7:30 regular time, and they stay in the cafeteria, and you'll have somebody in there helping them with their homework or the rest of the day. They are supervised. But those that, especially your juniors and seniors that have already passed the test too, this is an encouragement to them to pass the test. So in my senior year, I don't have to come to school early. I can sleep in. And so it's kind of a reward to them too. So it really works as an asset to the high schools to have a testing environment that other teachers, all teachers are able to assist and help.
And I did want to, I'm sorry.
I guess so I hear what you're saying, Trustee Newhouse, and that sounds good. I need more time to process this than just right now. And so I understand sometimes you can't get stuff to us before the meeting, but I need more time to weigh pros and cons than I feel like we're being allowed here right now.
And to Dr. Henna, and of course, if we want to wait until next month and have time to think it through, that's absolutely the board's decision. But to Dr. Hinojosa's point, having the waivers in place, there's not necessarily a drawback to it because we don't have to take action on them. We just have them in place. And I did want to, I believe you asked earlier about the homebound, and we do have the remote homebound currently in place for 22-23, and this would extend it to the next 3 years.
Does that mean if we approve this evening before any action is taken, it comes before the board again?
It certainly can. Before we exercise it, we would bring the plan. If we decide to go with the modified state assessment schedule, we would bring that plan before the board before executing it. And with the remote homebound students, that's just allowing us the opportunity to take attendance and receive funding for our students who through their ARD process have been, it's necessary for them to have that remote instruction, meaning that instruction could not take place in person.
Right, like this seems like a sound and educationally correct thing to do.
Yes.
The motion doesn't read as if we would have an opportunity to say yay or nay. And like I said, like coming to me, like this may not be a problem for the rest of the team, but like I process slow. And so I appreciate when we get the stuff on Thursday and I have the weekend to think about it and look at it.
And we knew that would be a concern, bringing it on Tuesday, and that fact that you didn't have it on Thursday, we did know that. So.
And they did reach out to me to approve it on the agenda. I was actually surprised that it still wasn't in place. We did it here in Spring for some time. It has always been beneficial for our students and staff, especially during testing. I was really surprised that we no longer had it in place. And our neighboring districts do it as well. So I approved it because it's very beneficial and it has worked well for us in the past. I was surprised we didn't have it anymore, so. Okay, any other questions? Then I'll entertain a motion.
Madam President, I move that the Board of Trustees approve the modified schedule state assessment testing waiver and the remote homebound instruction waiver for the 23-24 school year.
I second the motion.
It's been moved by Trustee Newhouse and seconded by Trustee Jensen that the board approve the modified schedule state assessment testing waiver and the remote homebound instructional waiver for the 2023-2024 school year. Is there any additional discussion?
I just
just want to clarify, we will see the plan in advance. Okay.
Absolutely. If it's decided that we're moving forward with that, to Dr. H's point that we may or may not move forward with it, but before we would have to bring a plan forward. Yes.
Right. This is just to have the waiver in place. If we execute the waiver, then they would need to let us know how that's gonna happen.
Madam President, are we able to modify the motion to include that information?
If you'd like to ask for a friendly amendment from Ms. Newhouse?
Yes, I don't have a problem with that. That's fine.
Can state that, Ms. Hodges?
Madam President, I move that we amend the motion to include. Madam President, I move that we amend the motion to include the senior leadership team will submit an action plan prior to implementing the waiver.
Do you accept that?
Is that a proper friendly amendment? I second.
Okay, I was gonna ask her, does she accept that? Okay, it's been seconded. All right, then the Board of Trustees. It's been moved by Trustee Newhouse and seconded by Trustee Adams that the Board of Trustees approve the modified schedule state assessment testing waiver and the remote homebound instruction waiver for the 23-24 school year, and will, upon execution of that waiver, bring an action plan for approval to the board. Any additional questions?
You said the motion was by Ms. Newhouse, it was by Kelly.
She made an amendment to her motion. She accepted her friendly amendment. Okay. It was still her motion. Okay. All right. Any questions? All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Motion carries unanimously. All right. Ms. Westbrooks?
Yes, ma'am. And so the second item begins on page 25, and this is the request for proposals for third-party code review and Texas Accessibility Standard Services. We did have an opportunity to present this item to the board on Thursday evening, and we received some guidance and feedback regarding the two original recommended vendor awards. And so this evening, we are recommending only one vendor be awarded, and that is our highest scoring vendor. Of course, you can see on page 27 the scoring, and so we're bringing an amended recommendation to the board this evening for consideration and approval.
Thank you for bringing that forward. I'll entertain a motion.
Madam President, I move that the Board of Trustees award the contract for third-party code review and Texas Accessibility Standard Services to the provider recommended by the administration.
Second.
It's been moved by Trustee Adams and seconded by Trustee Hodges that the Board of Trustees award the contract for third-party code review and Texas Accessibility Standard Services to the provider recommended by administration. Is there any discussion?
Did we, help me understand, did we decide that there was a time frame where we couldn't go back out for another RFP, or are we stuck with what we had here?
Not necessarily stuck. The vendor that we're recommending actually scored very highly. We wouldn't want to delay our projects any longer than we necessarily have to, and an RFP process can be rather lengthy.
So I guess, let me ask a different way. So if we were to pass this motion and we agree with the one vendor, can we go back at any point between now and the end of the year to look for another one?
We certainly could, yes, but we would already have this one in place to serve, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Ms. Moran, did you have anything to add?
I was just going to say, we talked last time about capacity. So if we got to that point where we were at capacity with this vendor, we would do what Ms. Westbrook just said.
Okay.
Yeah.
We wouldn't just go out now just in order to be prepared?
That's something that we need to discuss and take a look at, but it is a consideration.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? I'll call for a vote. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Motion carries unanimously. Wraps you up, Ms. Westbrooks, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next item is the Board of Trustees Committee update. Our first committee update is the Audit Committee. I'd like to share with everyone that for the 2023-24, we have 10 activity funds internal audits that have been completed. We want to congratulate the schools for having excellent and strong ratings and encourage them to keep up the good work. And we also like to thank Ms. Rios, our internal auditor, for all of her hard work. Ms. Newhouse, did you have anything to add from the Audit Committee?
No, that was it. At the end of the 23 school year in June, we all got a handbook on all of the audits that was done during the 22-23 school year. And I'd like to say hats off to the schools for the excellent job that they did in working with Ms. Rios in auditing schools. So thank you, Ms. Rios, to your team, and thank you for working with those bookkeepers to make sure that they were doing the right thing in handling their books at their schools. They did a great job. Strong audit. Thank you.
I'd like to recognize the Audit Committee, Trustee Newhouse and Trustee Correa, for working very collaboratively with Dr. Hinojosa and Ms. Rios. Great work, and we're looking forward to completing the audit plan that we've already approved for the upcoming school year. Ms. Correa, did you have anything you want to add? Good, all right. Our next committee is the Board Governance Committee, and I'll turn it over to Dr. Jensen.
We did not meet during the summer, and our first meeting will be August 21st if we're going with the same schedule we did last year. So I'm going to just bring up some topics that we would like to cover this year. First of all, we review policies that are brought up by the community, the board, our school leadership, and so please, if you have a policy that you think of is out of date or needs editing, please present that to the the Governance Committee. The other thing is we have looked at ways to evaluate ourselves as a board, because it seems like everybody gets evaluated, but we're not doing a formal way of actually looking at our own activities and our behaviors. And that is not a governance committee issue. That will be the president of the board will lead that process. However, in the meantime, our chief counsel sent 6 school districts, different governing manuals. And I started looking through them where they cite local policy, and I found 21 different local policies that they cited. And they also cited some of the state law. So that's where I think we're going to be helping here as we develop this and seeing what other school districts have found necessary to develop for local policy. Another thing we would like to do is review our advocacy issues. It has been a disappointing year with the legislature. It's like things that concerned us greatly get no ear at all at the state level. And so I think we need to revisit our process in that area. Another thing we are in charge of is the Employee Excellence Awards. Having been through this 2 or 3 years, we have some suggested changes going forward to make it more efficient and also to recognize more people. Because, yeah, I tell you, one of the most frustrating things is when every single application deserves an award and you've got to pick one person. So that's all I have for governance right now.
Thank you, Dr. Jensen. And as part of our Lone Star Governance Program, we will be moving forward with our self-evaluation for the board. So thank you for that. Our next committee that I'd like to like to hear from is our Equity Committee. And so I'll turn it over to Trustee Adams.
Thank you, President Grant. So the Equity Committee also did not meet during the month of July. I had some very informal conversations with Trustee Correa around the way we're looking at budget and the way we're looking at equitable distribution of resources. That is very preliminary. There are some tools available, some of them through the Georgetown Edunomics Labs that I've already shared with Dr. Hinojosa and with Ms. Westbrooks. One of my needs improvements for the next year with the committee is doing a better job of informing the rest of the board about what we discuss in committee. We take sort of notes. Trustee McDaniel takes really good notes. I am not doing a good job as committee chair of getting that out to the rest of the board. And so it's my commitment to do that.
Thank you. Thank you, Trustee Adams. I'd now like to recognize Trustee Kelly P. Hodges for our Community and Engagement Committee update.
Thank you, President Durant. The Community Engagement Committee, we did not meet over the summer. However, as we ended the school year, we actually had results from the Building Bridges. As you know, the Building Bridges with the board was a series of community outreach meetings facilitated by Spring ISD Board of Trustees. And we launched this to increase community engagement with our, amongst ourselves, and also working with, I lost my train of thought. With the community, thank you. And so as a result, there were several main topics of discussion, and a graphic was created, and you can find the results from the Building Bridges and Table Talks, which was launched to increase engagement and encourage dialogue between the board and district staff, campus and district staff members. So that was launched and is posted on the Spring ISD website under board, I believe it's under the board information, and there are two icons. You can click on it and actually look at the graphic and see the results from the conversations that we had. So with that being said, we will implement that again. We're looking at scheduling those dates. I believe we have 2 dates already, October and February. So we will launch that series again so that we can continue the work that we've started. Also, another project or our program that we're implementing is voter education, voter registration and education, particularly as it relates to our students who are 18 or who will be 18 within, I think it's 6 months of the upcoming election. And so Family Engagement has written a grant. Ms. Carroll will definitely provide information on that. We're hoping that the grant will be awarded, and that will allow us to actually have someone in the district that will provide voter education. And I believe that grant is through Houston Endowment, if I'm not mistaken. And so with that, we're hoping to get that and be able to actually implement and have someone to do voter education in the school. And then we're partnering with Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, Omicron Tau Omega chapter, to come in and actually register students and the community, register them to vote. So that's what we've been working on. Any questions? All right, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hodges. Did anyone have any questions for any of the committee's reports? All right, thank you. Our next item is the consent agenda, and I'll now entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Madam President, I move that the Board of Trustees approve and adopt all of the items listed on the consent agenda.
Second.
It's been moved by Trustee Hodges and seconded by Trustee Correa that the Board of Trustees approve and adopt all of the items listed on the consent agenda. Is there any discussion? We went over all of them Thursday in detail. Any other questions or discussion? Dr. Jensen, your light's on. Did you have any comments? All right, hearing none, I'll go ahead and call for a vote. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Motion carries unanimously. So the Board of Trustees will now recess the open session and convene in a closed meeting in accordance with Texas Open Meetings Act, Section 551.071, 551.072, 551.074, 551.076, and 551.0821. No voting will take place in the closed meeting. Any action the board wishes to take as a result of the discussion in the closed meeting will take place after the board reconvenes in open session, and the time is now 8:31 p.m. We will now reconvene and resume the regular meeting of the Board of Trustees. The time is now 10:11 p.m. Are there any motions?
Madam President, we do have a motion. I move that the board delegate authority to the superintendent or designee to negotiate, finalize, and execute the contracts for the purchase of land as discussed in closed session.
Second.
It's been moved by trustee Hodges and seconded by trustee Adams that the board authorize the superintendent or designee to negotiate, finalize, and execute the contracts for the purchase of land as discussed in closed session. Is there any additional conversation? All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Motion carries unanimously. Are there any other motions? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Madam President, I move that we adjourn the meeting of the Spring Independent School District Board of Trustees.
Second.
It's been moved by trustee Hodges and seconded by trustee McDaniels to adjourn tonight's meeting. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Motion carries unanimously. Tonight's meeting adjourns at 10:13 p.m. Thank you, everyone.